the fee for services, the billing practices that really generates the fraud. Unless we can cut off a tentacle, we've got to cut the beast off at the head. We've got to reform really the whole healthcare system and do a better job than this current bill that was passed under Obama.
Thank you.
Well, by golly, I kind of agree with Barbara on that. That's amazing. We have to completely revamp everything. How do you think you can get federal employees to work like free enterprise employees? You know, if my employees don't work hard, they may not have a job next week. You know, if we don't do a good job in the cities, we may not have another job. So what we've got to do is revamp the way people think and rewrite the system so that you have a system that's simple and idiot could understand it, because it seems like we send a lot of those up there to the federal government for some reason. We got to take care of this country, and we've got to do it now, and we've got to revamp all those programs and make it simple enough that people can understand, and then have people that care enough to make sure that their job's done right, and all those things where they're cheating everybody out of money can be found out and punished for those things. If you don't do that, you're not going to turn it around. And I don't know how you do that in 1 year in Congress or 2 years in Congress, but we've got to do that and turn this country back around.
Okay, our next question. A major hot topic in the U.S. right now is the planned Islamic mosque being constructed near the site of the World Trade Center. How do you feel about this issue? We'll start with Mr. Schultz.
Totally oppose the Ground Zero Mosque and its construction, and we need to fight this every step of the way, either via legislation done locally or work with the workers that'll just slow down the building and the construction of it. But I want this fought every step of the way, because it gets to the principle. You know, as an Air Force officer, I lost friends at the Pentagon that day. As an airline pilot, I lost fellow professionals. And we've got to remember that Islam wants the destruction of America and everything we stand for. And you just think back to the history. I'm in 1970, Jimmy Carter years, when they took over the embassy in Iran. Then you look into the Beirut bombings of the Marine barracks. Then you look to the 90s and everything that they've been doing, the different attacks, Pan Am, Lockerbie, and whatnot. Then you look to 9/11. They brutally attacked those individuals, slit the pilot's throat, slit the flight attendant's throat. We need to call this that we are at war with radical Islam and not kowtow to them and let them construct it on hollowed ground.
We are a nation of laws. And as much as sometimes I disagree with those laws cannot be pick and choose which ones we're going to honor and which ones we're not. I was born in a family where we understood there was something that was a legal right and there was a moral right. It is legally people's right to be able to build on property that they own, but that doesn't make it morally right. In this country, we can't say that we're going to honor the Constitution over here on this topic, but we're going to ignore the Constitution over here. I believe that is to defame the men and women who have died to give us the freedoms. This is a legal thing that they could do, but this is a moral thing that if they want to talk to us about freedom of religion, this is something morally they should not do.
I'm glad you asked this question. I'll quote it one more time. If they build a mosque there, it'll be 9 stories underground instead of 9 stories above ground. I've flown in there. Christmas before the destruction of the towers, on Christmas Day, I'm walking around on top of one of those towers. Each one of those buildings, by the way, was the largest building on earth, volume-wise, each one separately. And I've flown through that area and flown around while the lights were on, shining up out of that pit that's left now, that's Ground Zero. And I'm telling you, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep them from building a mosque there. I don't care what it takes to overshadow Ground Zero for us. They want to destroy our way of life. And I don't care where they build their mosques. I don't care what they do with their religion. I'm a Christian man and I go to my church. But they can go to church wherever they want to, but building one right there at Ground Zero, when the Muslim religion and its most jihadists has destroyed over 3,000 lives right there, I don't believe that's the way we want to do this in America.
I think the question was, do you like it? Was that the question?
Well, the question was about the Islamic
Mosque,
mosque.
and said, do you like it? I understood that to be the question.
Well, how do you feel about it?
Well, to me, that's the same about, that's different than do I like it? I don't like it. Nobody likes it. The question is, are you going to send somebody to Congress who doesn't know and understand the Constitution, who say they're going to abide by it, and then the first difficult and hard decision that comes past, they fold like a house of cards? The First Amendment, whether we like it or not, is the freedom of religion, and Congress can make no law abridging that. I don't like it. They have a right to build the mosque there legally and under our Constitution. If that's a national security issue, we should investigate them for that, but that doesn't do anything to tell them they can't build it there. Is it a wise decision on behalf of the Islam people? No, it is not a wise decision. Can they win the battle and lose the war because it's going to breed hatred and resentment? Yes, they will win the battle. They will lose the war, but they have the right to do so.
Our next question concerns the military. The last combat unit pulling out of Iraq, we're well entrenched in Afghanistan, and during the last several years, and even more so, we have returning troops with major medical issues of various kinds, physically and otherwise. Is enough being done to help our returning troops, Mr. Seller?
We're getting some reverb here, so we can't hear the speakers. Did you say, are we doing enough?
Are we doing enough to help our returning troops in terms of helping them with their medical issues as they return back from deployment?
No, we have heard, we clearly should be doing more for our men and women who go and serve on the foreign battlefield and are maimed and are injured. And so we must do more to make sure not just that their physical challenges that they have incurred on the battlefield are addressed, but we also must make sure that when they are healed physically, that they're healed mentally, and that they're also able to have a quality of life going forward. They need to be given opportunities with the challenges that they experience to go forward, to be a part of business, to be a part of any area in this society they want to be a part of. So it's not just physical, which we need to do much more for their physical needs, but we have to make sure that both financially, emotionally, psychology-wise, they have got to be given more support than they currently are getting. And that also goes to all of our veterans of foreign wars, not just the veterans of the current conflicts we're in right now.
Ms. Olsen, what's your response to that?
You know, I don't really know the answer to that question. I haven't really researched it. I've talked to a number of people who have told me, and it's just anecdotal, it's what they've told me, that their loved ones are not getting all of the help that they need, especially with their mental issues coming back from this war. And I don't know whether we're doing enough or not, but we need to do everything that we can for our military, whether they have physical or mental issues, to help them through this war. I've read the book, The Lone Survivor, about how, and I encourage everyone to read it, about the young man who lost his troops, his fellow soldiers over the rules of engagement that were harmful and that caused these men their lives. We need to do everything for these men and women who have given their lives for us.
I'm in agreement. You can't do enough for people to go there and take bullets for you to protect our freedom and protect our country. Whatever it takes to supply them with quality of health care, quality of life, quality of opportunities to rebuild themselves. You come back and your legs have been blown off by an IED. You need help. You're going to have to regroup your entire life. We're sitting here watching TV and having super-coated sugar bombs or something for syrup. You know, we don't need to not take care of our military who's been wounded in the service. Whatever that takes we also need to just completely redo our hospitals for the military. The service, the ability of getting the service that they have in there is just not anything like it is in the free enterprise system. So we need to make sure that they're taken care of in every way, and that we run our VA hospitals to the very utmost of the ability.
You know, this topic is front and center here in this district. We have 6 military bases 3 of our bases are Special Forces related. Special Forces is bearing the brunt of this fight. I had the opportunity as a captain for Delta Airlines. I recently was doing a flight from Atlanta to San Antonio. Young man, Marine, missing both his legs, was sitting right there at the bulkhead. Announced his presence and what he was going to San Antonio for, and his parents were with him, and his girlfriend was taking him there for further